The UK government has given a green light to a large new North Sea gas field that was seen by the energy industry as a test case for whether ministers would deliver on promises to increase domestic fossil fuel production following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Jackdaw project in waters 250 kilometers east of Aberdeen is expected to account for 6.5% of total gas output from the UK North Sea when it starts production, potentially as early as 2025, according to its developer, the oil major Shell. Joining me to discuss this further is Opeoluwa Dapo Thomas, an international financial analyst. Good morning. Great to have you, Opeoluwa, on the show. Let's start with the UK government's approval of the North Gas field. Is this a good move in your opinion?
Oh, well, it's a good move. I mean, the chicken has come home to roost. The British government have realized that energy security should be paramount, should be on the front burner. I mean, there's no point having people suffering from high cost of energy when you can fix it from your own ends. There's no point hoping for oil prices to come down or natural gas prices to come down when you could fix it from your own end. So I think it's a good move for the British government to understand and realize and be realistic that yes, although climate change is still important, but they have to understand that the people of Britain need energy and they need cheaper energy, and this is a very good move approving this project.
What about resistance from climate activists? What kind of backlash is likely to be expected from this approval and moving forward to put boots on the ground?
Well, we're expecting legal suits. We're expecting legal actions from climate change activists. I mean, we've seen how climate change activists have reacted to certain production. I mean, there was a game against between Everton and Newcastle a few months ago where a protester got onto the field and then he tied himself to the goalpost saying, just stop oil. I mean, the reason is because of this North Sea production. So basically, there are concerns about it. And we've seen how many times activists will stay on the road and block the road and glue themselves to the road so that no one could pass, causing traffic and havoc for British people. So we're expecting a reaction, protest, we're expecting legal suits. But the truth is, they need to understand that, yes, climate change is important, but also the energy security of British people is important. You can't say it's a trade-off. You can't eat your cake and have it. So I think the British government has realized that and are pushing forward for this project. I mean, last year, Shell had to pull out of the Project Campbell, but I think now they've gotten approval and they're really happy about this Jackdaw project.
Well, the UK government is interested in oil companies, oil and gas or energy companies doing well because they need that windfall tax to help support social contract with the people as announced by Rishi Sunak. So this 25% windfall tax, what's your take? There's been some pushback already. Do you think Sunak has a way out?
Well, yes, the energy industry is surprised. We in the oil and gas industry were surprised that there was a 25% windfall tax. We were expecting a one-off levy where it was just a one-time payment. But the idea being what Rishi Sunak is saying is if oil and gas are going to be at historic price levels, that is above the three-digit level, then you're going to be paying tax annually, and this will go on until 2025. So, I mean, I think they're trying to mirror what's going on in Italy. I think UK is the only nation among the G7 nations that has not done anything concerning the high price in oil and gas. So I think this is the first decision. And like I said, they are trying to make an organic way to bring money into the country. So rather than borrowing to help people, why can't you just take money from people who are making the most money? I mean, it's some sort of cyclical social contract, like I rightly said. So I think it's a very important thing for the UK government to make this type of decision. And I know, yes, the oil and gas people will push back, but I mean, they've got to live with it.
Let's talk about travel. What do you make of the call by UK Airlines for the government to relax post-Brexit immigration rules for AU aviation workers? There should still be a relationship somewhere despite Brexit. Yes, we know it's Brexit, but then...
The UK is beginning to realize that they need the EU, and obviously we've seen that last year when there was a truck driver shortage. So it's the same thing that's happening in the medical field as well. When you have people from the EU who've gone back to their homes because they don't have a visa to be in the country, and so we're seeing that with the EU aviation. This is the busiest times for British people and British travel. I mean, a lot of British people are traveling this weekend. It's the Platinum Jubilee weekend, and we've got almost 2 million people traveling out, almost 10,000 flights. So they need there's a shortage of staff, and then they need people to come in. So I think the possible solution, obviously, is to try and get temporary visa, but that will have to come from lobbying from Grant Shapps, who's the Transport Secretary in England. So basically, they have to find a way to address the shortages, especially during this time. It's summertime. The British people don't play with their holidays, and I think the British government understand that.
Do you think the government will agree? Could there be any backlash?
Well, it's a coin toss of an affair right now. People are just looking at it from a different perspective. Now, is it essential for people to travel? I think they understand that, yes, it's part of the culture of the British people to travel. Everyone, like I said, everyone is traveling this summer, and everyone has booked for travel. So when airlines took a lot of shortages, when most of them said they were going to lay off staff, it was during pandemic levels, but they haven't adjusted their population now. Or their staff levels now, given the fact that pandemic I won't say is over, but obviously is not restricting travel. So airlines have to adjust as well. So the British government, obviously, we get some, criticism, which it always happens. But I think they have to understand to be realistic with the current climate of things.
But is there a travel chaos in the UK as we speak?
Oh, well, there's a travel chaos. I mean, if you go to Heathrow, Gatwick, Bristol, Manchester, flights have been cancelled. Airlines also have been trying to offer enough flights that they can handle. So airlines have advised us to come quickly to the airports, come 4 hours before we travel. So yes, there's a lot of queues, a lot of chaos. I mean, people are getting flights cancelled. People are waiting 6 hours in the queue. We can't even get baggages out. I mean, you spend 2 hours trying to get your baggage out from the baggage claim, and you've not seen it. So it's a very, very, very chaotic system that is going on. I know most airports are trying to automate things, but then again, you need a physical presence, which has to be addressed from staff shortages. But we're expecting to see more queues. Like I said earlier, we've got 2 million people who are traveling this weekend. We've got almost 10,500 flights. So the manpower, the labor shortage is going to really affect the travel situation in the industry.
Okay, let's talk about Apple. Are you assessing their reported move to move supply chains from China to Vietnam?
Well, we've always addressed the supply chain issues in the country, in the global environment. So we're seeing lockdowns in Shanghai, lockdowns in China. You know, China has one of the strictest policies, and it's affecting businesses. And obviously, Apple knows that a lot of their supplies or a lot of their production comes in from China. So it's a strategic move to move it to Vietnam, where they have, I wouldn't say they have COVID restrictions there, or they don't have tighter, strict policies like we have in China. So I think what Apple is trying to do is a very strategic move to make sure that their business is not affected by the global lockdowns that is going on in China.
What's your outlook for global supply chains amid all this disruption? Let's finish off on that note.
We have to look at it from a macro level. So, I mean, we're having inflation right now, and then we're having supply chain issues. So, China is one of the biggest producers in the world and one of the biggest manufacturing countries in the world. So, if there's lockdown now and they can't really supply products or commodities to different countries, then there's going to be an issue. I think one thing we have to also look at is the semiconductor shortage. We're looking at shortages in chip and technology. So, how are the Asian countries going to address it? How's the world going to address it? And that's why we have high prices of things going on right now. And also with the commodity super cycle we're facing now, you're seeing expensive cost of copper, lithium, aluminium, and all these other commodities used in production. So I think if we look at it, we need China obviously to relax measures or relax COVID restrictions before we make any further outlook on production and supply chain.
All right. Dan, thank you so much for speaking with us here on A Global Business Report. Thank you so much. Have a great day.